Hey, welcome to another episode of the Ripple Effect Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Harper, and it is a solo episode today. I'm grateful for the opportunity to do this. I have not done as many solo episodes as I would have liked for this year. Just had too many amazing guests. You don't necessarily want to just hear from me. You want to meet the amazing entrepreneurs and game changers and ripplers that are out there doing incredible, amazing work. And so I don't want to detract from the momentum. And something must be going on with this show. I got to be honest with you, because at the end of the day, I am probably getting maybe 4 or 5 inquiries per day for booking agents to get their authors, their speakers, their entrepreneurs on this show. And I am not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I don't own a horse, number one, and it wasn't given to me as a gift anyway. I don't even know where that phrase came from, but it's odd. It's super odd. But I am truly inspired that we are making a bigger difference out there in the world through this show than I expected. If you are new around here, this is the first time you've ever checked out the Ripple Effect Podcast, please don't judge it based on just this guy. I am a passionate entrepreneur myself. I am focused on helping people turn ordinary connections into extraordinary relationships. And I go about doing those things in a way that helps people understand the importance of being authentic, connecting better, and building more supportive, more valuable, or beneficial personal and professional networks. And it has become my life's passion. But as I look at this show and where it's gone and how far we've come, I am just blown away. And I have you to thank for it. Obviously, if you're here for the first time, thanks for being here. If you've been here and keep coming back, thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it means the absolute world to me that you give us the time and the space inside of here and inside of here to do this show. And when I first brought it out, somebody asked me not too long ago, what was the inspiration behind the podcast? And quite honestly, I just wanted to talk about these things in a more direct manner. I wanted to be able to talk about the concepts from my book, The Ripple Effect, Maximizing the Power of Relationships for Your Life and Business. Now in the 3rd edition. You can find it on my website, ripplecentral.com. You can find it on Audible. And right now I'm having a little love-hate relationship with Amazon, so I would not direct you there. That's a whole different story. I could do a whole show on the frustrations of working with Amazon as an independent publisher. They are immense. The list is long, and the trouble is aplenty, let me tell you. Those guys just ruin every damn book I send them. I don't know what is up. It just pisses me off. Anyway, I digress. But when I brought out this show initially, I was really rough. Didn't really expect anybody to listen to it but a handful of friends. And when I was asked this question the other day, I had to be honest with myself. The priorities of the show have shifted and have changed. It was just used to just be me, which I think for some people probably got super old super quick. And then I realized that I wanted to tell the stories of other amazing, interesting people that maybe had not made the connection to the work that they're doing or the contributions they're making out there in the world to tie that directly back to the Ripple concept, but I wanted them to see that. And when I was thinking about this question that got posed, it really filled my heart with pride to see how far we've come in a relatively short period of time. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't have advertisers beating past my door like, hey, Stevie, let me give you some money. Help supplement some of your costs, defray some of those expenses, and help you do what you need to do. Not yet, but I remain hopeful and faithful that will occur one day. But am I the next Joe Rogan? Shit, no way. Am I Mark Maron? I love that guy. WTF podcast, fantastic. No. Am I a gifted storyteller like Malcolm Gladwell with revisionist history? No. Am I creatively interesting enough to be like a Rick Rubin? No. But I am me. And that is all I can do. That is all I can show up in how I live my life. And good, bad, or indifferent, if you understand that phrase. And so the purpose of the show has evolved to highlight amazing people that are doing great things out there in the world. And as I just found out from a guest that was on the show last year, they'd never even contemplated the impact that their work had until we had our conversation. And I pointed out all the different ways the ripple had played a part in helping them become who they are today. And ultimately, all the ripples their great work is creating out there in the world, how that ripple is happening today because of them. And that made me very, very proud. And so as I was answering this person's question, I said, I feel like my job now is to give voice and shine a light on the people that are making a huge difference out there in the world. And if I do that, I'm doing my job. I'm doing what I think my intended purpose is. And I think I'm getting better at it. I've had some nationally renowned journalists that have been on this show that have said, you missed your calling. You should have been in media. No, thank you. Don't want to be like going all over the world. I don't want to have to get up at the butt crack of dawn, even though I do it anyway as an entrepreneur. I would never be a good on-air talent in any way. It's taken me so long to even get comfortable just being in front of a camera. I could not possibly consider that. But I do know they are right in one capacity. I'm a storyteller. I like teasing out the details from people's lives. I like exploring their origin stories. I love hearing the impacts that they're making through the work that they're putting out into the world. And this isn't just always necessarily entrepreneurs running $20 million businesses, although we've had plenty of those. Sometimes it's the people that are quiet little ripplers that are just making their contributions in the world. And they're not seeing, they think their efforts are minimal, right? But they're not seeing the impact that they make, but I can see it. I can see when their eyes light up, when I hit them with the right question, when the right conversation actually just locks in and you get a pure understanding of what is inside their heart, what's inside their brain, how they go about living their lives. And I am fascinated by it. I'm here for it 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. Because every time I get an opportunity to interview somebody, I feel like I am learning something from them. And by all measures, my audience is telling me they are benefiting greatly from this as well. That's why our numbers continue to increase. That's why I think these agents are contacting me. And I think I am doing good work. And I'm so grateful and appreciative. So yeah, rather than just make this entire episode about me, if you're listening, that was me patting myself on both shoulders, but opposite. Yeah, you'd have to see it. But that's not me patting myself on the back. That is me absolutely, positively reaffirming that I'm grateful to have this opportunity, to know that a few of you tune in with regularity. And as I said, if you happen to be new here and you've still followed all this way, that you'll come back and keep coming back. And more importantly, help us do what we can to share the good work that we're doing here with people that you think can benefit from it. So let me reintroduce myself as your guide to really cool, awesome people. Let me reintroduce myself as a person who recognizes that our talents in life have to and should be acknowledged and should be appreciated. And sometimes even when we have them, like myself, I did not know I had the interview skill. I knew I was a really good conversationalist, which makes you kind of a natural good interviewer, but I'm a little slow on the uptick, so I didn't make that correlation, at least not right off. And but that's okay, right? That's, you eventually get there. You eventually find your way to where you need to be. And I just love the lessons I've learned along the way. I feel like every time I do an interview, it's like a masterclass of awesomeness. And I'm just beyond blessed. But by way of introducing myself, why is this so critical and important? Because I think there is so much negativity in the world right now that people have a tendency to retreat to their shell. I think that there is a ton of podcasts out there that can inspire and motivate you, but there's a lot of noise. And so my passion has always been trying to put together a show that maybe isn't, well, let's just be honest, is put together, with a very, very small team. And there's not a high production value. It's not backed by advertisers at present. And it is just a labor of love. And I hope that labor of love comes through in the sincerity of my voice, not only in this message today, but or in this show episode, but in every interview that we put before you. I wouldn't put anybody on that isn't a quality individual for you to know. And I mean, you think about it, you go from having, just this monologue, which is what I'm doing today, kind of a monologue-ish show, to, okay, now let me put the camera on somebody else. Let me ask a few questions. I went back to one of my first interviews and realized just how far I've come, just how bad I was. And yet that person, an author, still really, really enjoyed their time and really appreciated it. And they did their best to promote what we did together. And that made me so happy and so proud. And I reached out to that person. I said, I don't know if you knew this, but you were my first interview. And I could kind of think, when we were talking, they were like, yeah, I could tell there, buddy. You sucked big rhino balls. But he was gracious, he was kind, and he said, I continue to be a fan of your show. I'm not a fan just because of what you do on the show. I'm a fan of you because no matter what you do, you show up as the authentic version of yourself. And you always have in everything you've done to support me even before we recorded. But I will say, Steve, you have come a long way. You have improved greatly since you you and I recorded that interview that could have been so much better. But hey, now that you're kind of a really good interviewer, we should do it again. And we are, and we will. But I felt so appreciative of that compliment, so appreciative of the acknowledgement of how far I've come. So why did I come this far? I want to leave you with this episode not just being like, hey, look at me, look how good our show is. That would be stupid and really boring and self-promoting. And that's just not me, right? I'm pretty sure it's not me. But I have this quote that I have on my board right now. The greatness is doing the little things better than everyone else. And one of the things that I think that I have allowed myself to do is to expand my skills and my abilities, embrace the things that scare me, lean into the things that interest me, and roll the dice regardless of the outcome, and put it out there in the world. And the right people, I think, will beat a path to your door. They will find you. They will listen, and they will pay attention. And if you do it just a little bit better than everybody else, they're going to tell people about it and help you get even more ears and eyes on the show. And if the numbers are any indication, that's happening in spades. And one of the things that I think that I really appreciated about this, and how that ties back to that, sort of that phrase, that statement that I have on my board, is that I figured out how to start small so that I missed small. And I learned the process along the way. I had to learn about podcasting software. I had to learn about editing. I had to eventually go from just an audio format to a video format. I had to get comfortable on camera. I then entered into the world of bringing somebody else in through video and trying to have a fun, engaged conversation with them so they didn't think I was a complete bozo, and do it with ease. And it was the little things that helped me along the way. It was learning skills. It was finding my presence. It was discovering my voice. It was practicing. If you followed any of my YouTube videos, and I probably have said this on a podcast episode or a dozen, when early days I had a friend, we were at an event together, and she had listened to the first couple of episodes, and I was super excited to hear what she thought. rather than talk about the content, she talked about how many ums and ahs and came across so absolutely negative about the show. And just, it was so distracting for her that she didn't know if she could listen to another episode. This is about maybe 5 or 6 shows in, and feedback is hard to hear, right? And I needed to hear it. I'm actually appreciative for it. But at the end of the day, I was also really, really hurt by it. Because at the end of the day, I was trying to find my voice. Anybody could see that. Anybody would understand that. And this person who I think sometimes, views what I'm doing or my success as somewhat like a competitor instead of a friend or a supporter, I think at that time found an opportunity to put me in my place. And that was hurtful. But you know what I did? I took that feedback and I wrote it down. I went back and listened to those episodes. She wasn't wrong. And I became more cognizant of maybe some of the annoyances in my voice, my inflections, my nervousness when I didn't quite know where to find the next phrase. And at the time, podcasts were, had this birth, right? They were popular, then they kind of went away, and then they just came back with enormity. And that's about when I started my show. And I wanted to be like everybody else, right? I wanted to feel polished. I wanted to feel like I had good production value. And I dove into the little things to try to make those improvements. But until I got that feedback, really, I was unaware that I was not comfortable in my own skin, which is why I had the ums, the ahs, or I may have looked somewhat unprepared or maybe just a bit chaotic. The pace was frenetic and awkward. But that was the little thing that I decided to concentrate on, to focus on, and get comfortable in my own skin. And rather than, which I would have done in my past life, try to make the show for her to win approval or to be like, look how far I've come, I just said, fuck it, right? I'm going to do the show that I want to do. I am going to do it the way that I think I need to do it. Yes, is that feedback valuable? Absolutely. Was it correct? Yes. Could it have been delivered in a nicer way? Without question. But then you have to consider the source. You have to consider the circumstances by which they felt comfortable to bring it up. And that there was not necessarily a desire to see me get better, but to really kind of keep me down. And that inspired me. And oftentimes you find in life that it's those little things that inspire you along the way that once that flame is started, you have to feed it. You have to give it energy. You have to put some focus behind it in order for that flame to grow. And podcasting for me became a big passion. And somewhere along the lines, I decided, I love doing this editing, but it's a huge lift and it's a big enormity for me. Time suck, frustration, all that stuff. I needed to get some help, and I got that help. My editor is the bomb, does such an amazing job. My content developer, she gets me. She understands my voice. She knows what I'm trying to accomplish. And she's been able to take some of these great episodes and really turn that into something magnificent, whether that be blog posts, whether it be collateral, marketing material, introductions to really top executives or conference organizers. We've turned this show into ammunition for all sorts of things. And I feel super proud. But it was the small little things that I had to do and work along the way in order to try to achieve the level of greatness I feel like this show has achieved. We're nowhere close to like having anybody want to come, spend, thousands of dollars to support it yet. But I believe we will get there one day. I believe if I keep showing up and I keep doing the good work and I keep getting good at the little things, that eventually those little things become great things, and those great things turn into greatness for the show and for me and for my guests and the output into the world, which makes me so, so happy. So part of the point of sharing that with you is to say, look at the little things that you're doing in your work, the little things that maybe you have in terms of your talent, your experience, and how can you continue to refine? How can you continue to sharpen the saw on those things? How do you get better? And part of what I think had to happen was having to do all these little things correctly and right, including improving my voice, including overcoming what I just did right there. Getting rid of those things, or not being as, how do I say it, hard on yourself, negative about those things. Ums and ahs are going to come. We all do them. And yes, it was those first episodes really annoying because I did it a lot because I was trying so hard to put cognitive good thoughts in front of what I thought might be the audience of 3 or 4. One being my dad. And then I went off the reservation, trying to, be a little bit harsher and being a little bit edgier. And that didn't feel right either. But I needed that experience. I needed to work on those little things in order to get to where I am today. And when you have a former Today Show host and a CNN anchor that tell you missed your calling, really? Even with my awkward questions and even with my occasional ums and ahs and even with this nervousness that I feel like I showed up to this show to have or this episode to record, they would say yes. And that, oh my God, my friends, made me feel incredible. So I don't know what it is for you. I don't know what you're focused on or where your energy is being placed. But my guess is that no matter what that is, there are a whole sequence of little things that you have to do and work on and continue to get better at and to focus on and to refine. And before you know it, you'll eventually rise up and be on your mountaintop. My mountaintop is like a little tiny hill. It's like an anthill, but like a bigger anthill, like the bigger, fatter ants, right? And eventually I want to go to like the mound, and then I want to go to like a small, normal hill for people, and then eventually the big mountain, right? I have goals, people. I understand, but everything along the way is a process, and you get better at it. When you practice it, when you focus on it, when you put some energy behind it, and you pour a little bit of kerosene on that to keep that flame not only just burning, but burning brighter, hotter, and with intent, with intention. And yes, you'll take some lumps along the way. You'll have some failures. You'll make some mistakes. You'll do some things you're like, oh man, I wish I hadn't done that or said that. Or I'm by no means a professional podcaster, even at this point, after this many episodes. I interviewed someone earlier this year and I was like, oh my God, that interview sucked. I just felt like my energy was off. I felt like I was more than average nervous for them. And then when I saw the finished product, I was like, who is that guy? Who is that guy? Like, wow. Like, I'm sitting here like, man, that guy's got it going on. And then, I don't know, Divine Intervention is like, dude, you are that guy. You are that guy. Oh, yeah, I love it. That was the reward. And nobody was there to see it. Makes me think of this. I'll just go off on a tangent for a second. There is a scene in Yellowstone. It's on social media all the time, but Taylor Sheridan's character, whatever that guy, horse trainer guy, his name, loves to be in his own show. Maybe I'm just jealous of his guns, right? The biceps. I'll get there eventually. But he's talking to Jimmy, who's kind of like, kind of the, had been kind of the screw up of the show early on. And then they sent him off to this, ranch, the 4-6s. And, he kind of grows up, becomes a man, realizes what it takes to be a cowboy. And they run into each other at a rodeo. And I think Jimmy had just seen Taylor Sheridan's character just do like an amazing, demonstration, competition, whatever it was. And he walks up to him and he's like, hey, that that was amazing. He said, I mean, it's, something, I'm just putting words out there, but like, that was, I finally figured out what it means to be a cowboy. And the guy says, that's not cowboying. This is just showing off. He said, the best horse I ever worked was in San Saba, Texas, and no one was around to see it. And that scene, out of so many great ones out of that show, I'm a huge fan. Maybe I need to take that other friend of my train station out. I digress. But that phrase hit me when he said it, and it hits me every single time I see it on social media. When you show up to do the work for yourself, nobody has to be around to give you acknowledgement or to pat you on the back, say, good job, you're awesome. It's in these moments of self-satisfaction that you suddenly realize it. And I'm watching that episode, like I just mentioned to you, not my own episode, sorry. And I immediately thought of that Taylor Sheridan moment. Like, that was my horse in the middle of San Saba, Texas. Nobody was around to see it. It was the best thing that I had ever done. You don't do it for other people, you do it for yourself first. And if you do the work that you're meant to do, and the contribution that you are probably put here on earth to contribute, the rest of the world will sit up and take notice. It just is true. And so that scene from Yellowstone hit me like a ton of bricks when I'm sitting there thinking this particular interview was going to suck. I was cringy to hit play. And then I watched it and I'm like, whoa. Because, at the end of the day, my editor only has what they have to work with, right? On this side. Yeah. But even on my off day, when I thought I was so nervous and didn't do a great job on that interview, he didn't do any lights and magic. He didn't use any AI. He used what he had, which was me, on that particular day, nervous as hell, interviewing a rock star who I was kind of scared to talk to, and I came across really well. The interview was fantastic. And that person, the rock star, has said, when are we doing it again? I guess in those moments, that's my cow in San Saba, Texas, where I worked it, and nobody's around. Tip of the virtual cowboy hat to Taylor Sheridan for that lesson. That is when you know you're doing it right. And when you can do the small things really better than anybody else will do, when you show up to work your ass off when nobody else is willing to get out of bed, when you are prepared to put in the heavy lifting, whether you're going to be successful or not, or get the credit or not, or your name is going to be put in lights or not, you know you're doing your true calling. And for me, that was money. That was money to realize that. So going all the way back to, the feedback I got from that individual, does it still sting a little bit? Sure. I like it though. I like the stinging because the stinging keeps me sharp. The stinging reminds me that the work is not done. Every single day I show up to do this show, whether it's me here just talking to you or whether it's me having the opportunity to be the conduit for you to bring greatness into those ears through the amazing, amazing freaking people I get to meet, it is not lost on me. And I want to just thank you from the bottom of my heart for the opportunity to do it. And I want to thank you for tuning in and listening and watching and telling me when you see me out and about or on social that the show means something to you. I will continue to work my ass off and continue to put in the time and the energy to continue to focus on the little things to get better. Will I ever achieve true greatness? I'll never tell you if I do. I will tell you if in my own mind, however, it doesn't get much better than that realization, me sitting alone in this studio, lights off, pushing play and realizing, holy shit, that interview rocked. So much so I want to watch that guy again. Maybe I'm a little loving myself. I don't know. I'm kidding, totally kidding. But I didn't once think that it was cringy in any way, shape, or form. And boy, did it come across as professionally done. And that just made me so freaking proud. And I watched 3 or 4 episodes since then. I've been listening to a few of our old episodes, first interviews and beyond, again, as I'm on a walk or a hike. And I can't stop smiling. I can't stop saying to God and the universe, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for being in a position to lead me down this path, to find this different gear for Ripple, and to actually be the inspirer behind some of these people who don't recognize the contributions they're making out there in the world, and being able to be the mouthpiece to help shine the light on them. I will continue to show up. I ask you to continue to show up. And if you like what we say and what we do and how this show sort of has evolved, please share it. And forgive me for my occasional ums and ahs, or my faux pas, my missteps. It's what makes me me. And I will not apologize for it. Not to you, not to that person that I talked about, my supposed friend, not to my dad, not to anyone. Because the only person really at the end of the day that I need to show up and perform for, sitting right here. And if I do a good job and I put in the work on the little things, maybe we'll achieve a different level of greatness than I could have ever imagined. Kind of think we're already there. So guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I appreciate you lending me your ears, lending me your eyes on video. Sorry you're dealing with this if you're watching on video. I did get a haircut for you. That's a whole different story. Talk about some rippling happening at the barbershop when I was out of town. I had to go to a barbershop when I was traveling, and I could just sat there all day long and listen to those stories. But thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this journey. I know you got a lot of other things that you could be doing with your time, and to give me a few minutes every once in a while means the world to me. So I'm eternally grateful and indebted to you. Go out there, do the little things for your own life, for your own adventure, for your own business, for your own next big thing. And maybe I'll see you on the top of the second large anthill, the next mound, the next small, hill, or the plateau of the greatest mountain you've ever thought you could possibly climb. That'd be great. I'll bring snacks. Ripple on.